Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, welcome to yet another episode of the Zero Disrespect Podcast. This is season 4, and we want to thank you all for joining us. As always, I'm joined by my co-host Wyatt Oxley. Wyatt, how you doing?
Doing all right.
Yeah, that's good.
A little on edge today, but it happens. Stayed up kind of late last night. Didn't really sleep all that well. Happens.
Well, we're here now. It's 3:40 p.m. Eastern Time right now. If you're back from McLean County, Kentucky listening, it's 2:40 p.m. Eastern Time, or 2:40 Central Time, excuse me. And we got the Kentucky basketball game coming up against Florida here in T-minus 2.5 hours. So
2 hours, 20 minutes?
Yes.
2:20.
So it's going to be a really fun matchup. We'll get to that here later. We also have a lot of XFL news to cover, just in case you're interested.
We're actually sitting here watching an XFL game right now as we speak.
Yeah, it's the Vipers, the Fang Gang versus the Roughnecks. It's 18-18. It's arguably the best team in the XFL going up against arguably the worst team in the XFL, and it's actually quite an enjoyable matchup. The third quarter just started, and there was a completion for about -5 yards from PJ Walker.
Yeah, the Vipers have the momentum right now. They scored a touchdown and tied it right before half, so they definitely got the momentum. Although just said on the bottom of the screen, the Vipers have had 15 more plays than the Roughnecks have.
Yeah, no. Here's the thing with the Vipers too. Is Jack and I and they also had 4 minutes more possession time. I just saw that. But the thing with the Vipers is that they have the tools on offense to be a juggernaut offensively, and their defense isn't bad either. You know, they have a pretty good secondary, if I do say so myself. However, I think it's Mark Trestman is their head coach. I'm pretty sure. I could be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure that's who it is. You know, they're 0-2 right now. They're looking for their first win this season. But the thing with the Vipers is they lead in yardage and rushing and receiving, but they just now scored their first touchdowns, offensive touchdowns. You know, if they scored a touchdown against Seattle last week, but that was a defensive that was a pick six. So, and they just got flagged for a pass interference in the backfield. So,
well, that was a terrible throw.
It was.
Had that ball not been thrown, that would not have been a pass interference.
Definitely not. So, let's just get into a little bit of XFL right now. So today, obviously, right now we have the Houston Roughnecks taking on the Tampa Bay Vipers. It's 18-18 right now. It's a very tight-knit game right now. And then after this game, at 5:00 p.m. Eastern Time, we have yours truly, the Dallas Renegades, going to CenturyLink Field to take on the Seattle Dragons and their Game of Thrones-esque logo, is what I read in an article, which I thought that was overstepping it, but, you know, we'll let them have fun. You know, obviously, and Wyatt, he's a big Wildcats fan.
Terrible.
Not gonna rub it in too much.
They're terrible.
The Renegades did beat the Wildcats last week. It was a tight game throughout. You know, the first half was very
tied at 3 at halftime.
Yeah, it was 3-3 at halftime. I think it was the lowest scoring half in XFL history. So it was 3-3, and then at the end it was 25-18. So it was quite a matchup between those two teams. A lot of respect for LA and the Wildcats. So right now the Renegades at 5, they take on the Seattle Dragons. So the spread for this one.
Did you see that celebration you just did?
What is it?
Dude just sacked him. He did this.
Oh, he did the Cobra?
Yeah.
That was it. So you didn't watch much WWE, did you?
No, I did not.
Well, there was this wrestler, and his name was Santino Marella. Big Italian fucker, right?
And I want to bleep that out.
Yeah, we'll all right, what time we at? What's the time at? We'll see. 4 minutes and 20 seconds. 4:20.
Yeah, of course, it's 4:20.
And Cam Phillips just gets loose for a touchdown, and so right now it is 24-18 Roughnecks, unless they get a 1, 2, or 3-point conversion. But no, big Italian dude, right? Santino Marella, and his finishing move was called the Cobra. And what this guy did was, and I'm sorry we don't have Braille or Morse code for the listeners right now. However, Wyatt can see what I'm doing, so I'm going to do it. He would do this as his finishing. He would hold it, he would pull out his arm like this, and he would like karate chop his wrist to make his hand go up.
Really?
Yes, he would karate chop his elbow to make this go up, and then he would turn his like wrist the other way, and it made it look like a cobra, and then he'd strike him in the face. And they would get knocked down.
That's such a dick move.
Exactly. Well, like the thing, and he would pull. He had like a sleeve of a cobra and pulled it and did that, and it was the funniest thing. Like PG wrestling, it was just the funniest thing. So it's 26-18 Houston. By the way, just wanted to update you on that score.
2-point conversion.
Yes, but yeah. So the Dragons, like we were getting at earlier before we were talking about Italians. The Dragons Renegades are both 1-1, so they're both vying for the second place spot. Granted, if Houston loses in the XFL West Division, so big marquee matchup for them tonight. They're playing on Fox. The spread or the total is 43, so it's a low-scoring game. So Dallas is averaging 17 points per game, whilst Seattle is averaging 18 points per game. The Renegades are surrendering. Excuse me, I can't speak today. They're surrendering 17 points per game, third in the XFL, and then Seattle is surrendering 20, which they're tied for fifth.
Well, neither team, well, especially the Renegades, they don't give up very much, but they didn't score very much either. They only scored 9 points in their opener against St. Louis.
They didn't score a touchdown.
Yeah. And I watched a little bit of the Seattle game last week. The Dragons actually have some pretty good receivers, and they're fast. And I remember watching. I was watching the game last week, and one of the receivers for Seattle torched the Vipers secondary right after the Vipers. I think it was right after they intercepted a pass and ran it back.
Yeah.
They made it right back up after they got like a 70-yard pass. Did you watch that?
Yeah, no, Brandon Silver's launch. I forget who the receiver is at the top of my head, but he just like first.
It was
play.
the kid that went to Navy, I think.
Yeah,
he just quarterback at Navy.
Just launched it, right towards the receiver, got down, and that's when the Vipers lost all momentum. So, and they were up most of that game up until like the late third, early fourth quarter. Mm-hmm. So, I'm not discrediting the Vipers. I do think they're figuring a lot of stuff out. They had Aaron Murray at quarterback, threw 3 interceptions in his first game. So, if you are the third string former starter for an XFL team, zero respect, you freaking suck.
Well, the guy that they have in now is better than the guy that started the game.
Who was it? Cornelius? Yeah, no, Cornelius. He's killing it. He's more of a pocket passer than Quentin Flowers is. However, Quentin Flowers does have, more. Well, he has 51 yards for 4 completions, whereas Cornelius has 84 yards for 7 completions. So, and it's interesting the way that Trestman's using this offense right now, especially with 2. It reminds me of the Saints a little bit, using 2 quarterbacks. Because Flowers, he can run the ball and he can catch the ball and everything.
What I'm reacting to is the tight end just completely dropped the ball.
That's that Goolsby, okay.
I think that's a Florida kid right there. Goolsby? I think that kid went to Florida. But by the way, this is a very unusual podcast.
Yeah, we're live. We're giving. It's pretty much a reaction kind of. So. Yeah. But
honestly, we need to get a camera up or something.
Yeah, there we go. We can pull out the live stream sometime again.
Yeah.
So let's just talk. Obviously, we have a couple games tomorrow, but let's get into a little bit of Kentucky basketball right now. Just what a punt, by the way. What a punt. Beautiful.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, let's.
Oh! What did they throw a flag for?
Oh, unnecessary roughness. Scum.
Kickers and punters always have the weirdest last names. I swear.
Yeah. McGinnis. That's not really a weird last name.
We had a McGinnis and a McInnes.
Yeah, that's true. Grant McKinnis. It was Grant McKinnis and Austin McGinnis. Yeah. It's interesting the way names
play. Blame the Irish.
Yes. Anyway, Kentucky Wildcats taking on the Florida Gators tonight. Big marquee SEC matchup. Florida was one of the front runners to win the SEC earlier this season. Now it's Kentucky. They're 2 games up now, and technically 1 unless we win tonight because Auburn has already won. So, but let's just take a look at the past 5 games for Florida and Kentucky. Florida has won 4 out of the last 5 games. They lost to Ole Miss at Ole Miss, 68-51. They beat Georgia, 81-75. They beat A&M by 17. Beat Vanderbilt by 18, and then Arkansas.
Beat Arkansas by 14.
Yeah. So that, I mean,
Real quick, Arkansas, I think they've just fallen off.
yeah. I mean, I do.
Ever since Kentucky beat Arkansas, it seems like they've just
No, I
not
agree.
been
I
there.
agree.
Because they got beat by like 10 or 11 points, I think, by Tennessee about a week and a half ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I know that Arkansas hasn't been good on the road, but the Vols haven't been good at home either. So
Yeah. Definitely.
that's a game that they can't excuse.
Yeah. Exactly.
But back to Florida. So the storyline I think going into this game is it's going to be, Kerry Blackshear, the grad transfer from Virginia Tech. He was caught. Caught between Kentucky and Florida.
Mm-hmm.
He picks Florida. There's a lot of hype.
Visited Kentucky and everything.
Yeah, took an official visit, did all that stuff. There's a lot of hype going, about Florida going into this season, and I just feel like they haven't lived up to it.
No, by no means necessarily have they. I mean, they're 17-9. They've already lost 4 conference games. Kentucky. There was a lot of speculation happening about whether Kentucky was overrated or not after losing their 3rd game this season to Evansville at home. We were talking about that earlier. That's their only home loss. So.
Yeah, I actually noticed that because I'm looking at the ESPN website. It says they're 14-1 at home. Well, then it just kind of makes you want to pull your hair out because then you think about the team that they lost to.
Yeah.
But in conference, Florida's 9-4 and 17-9 overall. They've won 3 in a row. Let's see who their SEC losses are to. By the way, Florida lost to Florida State this year.
Yeah, that was one of the first games.
Yeah, it was their 2nd game of the season. Florida State they won 7 years in a row against Florida in basketball.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe that.
No.
But they're back to what we were saying.
Since Billy Donovan left, though, that's why Florida has beat Florida State, I think. But continue. Go ahead.
So their SEC losses: Florida's lost at Ole Miss. They've lost. They lost at home to Mississippi State. They lost at LSU and they lost at Missouri. They got beat pretty bad by Missouri too.
Yeah.
They lost by 16 in what they call Como. They lost to Utah State. Did you see that?
Utah State?
Yeah. They lost at home to Utah State by 3.
Oh, my sister just sent me something on Instagram, by the way. She said John Wall's going to be at the game tonight. Very fun. Very fun.
Kentucky's not losing tonight then.
No, heck no.
But Kentucky, I think I was wrong about them. Or I don't know if I was wrong as much as I may have
Overthunk.
had a kind of a knee-jerk reaction to some of the games that they lost earlier on in the season.
Yeah.
Because they have won 5 in a row, including, let's see.
And 3 out of those last 5 have been on the road, too. On the road against Tennessee, beat them by 13. On the road against Vanderbilt, beat them by 14. On the road against LSU, one of the toughest places to play in the SEC, in my opinion. Beat them, should have been by at least 15, but we lost Higgins due to injury, and then we were just in really bad foul trouble. So they were at double bonus. They were shooting free throws with no time on the clock. So.
I was nervous going into the Auburn game, just because I knew that it was going to be a raucous crowd, and we'd had so many, straight road games.
Yeah, yeah.
But it happens. But we've only lost twice since we lost to Ohio State, and we've won I think 11 of the last 12, something like that. So we've only lost 2 SEC games, both of which were on the road, and I think. Remember a couple weeks ago when I used the analogy of the Miracle on Ice movie?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, for those of you that
today's the Miracle on Ice.
It is
anniversary.
40 years in a row. Shout out to Jim Craig and Michael Ruzioni.
USA, USA.
But the analogy that I used for those of you that didn't hear it was there's a scene in the movie where after they had a game against Finland where they tied but they didn't play all that well, the head coach of the USA team,
Water break.
slight water break.
Yep.
He had them line up on the goal line, where the net is, and he kept having them do like suicides. And between suicide, would you call them like reps?
Yeah.
Yeah, between suicide reps, he would give them kind of a talk. And during one of them, he said, "Do you think you can win off talent alone?" He said, "Fellas, you don't have the talent to win off talent alone." And
Yeah.
I think basically what he was conveying to them is you have to work harder and you have to play together, and you also just gotta, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Just do it. You know what I'm saying? Just,
Yeah. Nike, just do it.
yeah, pretty much. And I think that the same thing kind of applies here,
Yeah, definitely.
because this team doesn't have near as much talent as some of the teams that Cal's had in the past. But
No.
this team, I think, works harder and plays harder plays as hard, if not harder, than some of the teams that he's had to go to the Final Four.
See, and when on paper, like this team, it's a wonderful team, right?
It is.
Yeah, like even if you had Khalil Whitney on paper, it looked like a great team.
Yep.
But
we all know how that ended.
Yes, and so not completely. We know how Khalil Whitney ended, but we don't know how this season's going to go yet.
I was talking about Khalil.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, he's done. He's not going to the draft. He's going overseas to China. So,
Yeah.
But anyway, I said before the season, and it was when it was me, you, and Jack on the football podcast earlier this semester, or last semester, that I would be surprised if we didn't win the national championship this year. And granted, there are at least 20 teams that could win it this year. I wouldn't be surprised if San Diego State won the whole damn thing. They're 26-0 right now. Granted, the Division A plan isn't all that great.
26-0 is hard to shake. It's hard to disrespect though.
For consistency,
Yep.
if you can do that throughout the season, mad props to you. So, been there, done that. We know what it's like. So, however, I do still think that Kentucky can win the national championship. And that's just not me being biased either.
I think they can too.
Yeah, I think I think Louisville can win it. I think anyone in the top 25 can win it. I think. Unless you're Michigan State, I don't think you're winning at the end. So.
And the Roughnecks just missed a field goal.
49 yards. So, but we have 5 more games left, and ever since you asked me this the other day, you said, do you think Kentucky will win it? And I said, if we lose one game, it will be to LSU. They didn't lose that one. I do think we'll win out. Auburn's gonna be a tough road next week. And then we play at Florida at 1 p.m. on CBS Saturday, March 7th. So that's going to be a tough one, as it always is.
Well, that one will be tough just because it's tough to play down there. And, when we play the Gators down there, they typically play us pretty tough.
Yeah, no.
The Malik Monk team, that was one of the best teams that we've had in 5 years.
Yeah.
They got trounced by Florida down there.
It was last year, I believe. Yes, it was. We had a crazy comeback win over there, and the Florida they just silenced them. It was insane how they did it. It's going to be another big matchup. Tonight's going to be a preview for 2 weeks from now. Is pretty much what this is, and it reminds me of the Tennessee game, last year. We stomped Tennessee at home, couldn't beat them at their place. However, Tennessee was a much better team than Florida is now.
Yeah.
So Florida isn't even ranked at this point. But
I do think they'll make the tournament, though.
Florida, I can see them making the tournament.
I heard it real quick. I was listening to Matt Jones. I don't remember if he was on KSR or if he was on Paul Feinbaum one time.
Mm-hmm.
I was listening to it, I think, last summer, but he was talking about how Florida typically has a good basketball team. Nobody cares about it.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Because the Florida fan base is invested in football.
Yes.
Even though
And gymnastics. They're killer at gymnastics, by the way.
baseball too.
Yeah.
Florida's good at just about every sport that they play, which I hate because I hate the University of Florida. But I can't disrespect the fact that they're good at everything.
Yeah. No, it's
But
kind of
they-
like Baylor in the Big 12. Like, they're just good at everything. Like, they're number one in both women's and men's basketball. Like, it's crazy. But, yeah, Florida, like, you know, I just want revenge for September, what was it, 12th?
14th.
14th? That was rough.
That's not. That's not the same thing.
It's not, no, by all means it isn't. But I
The
do
only way
want
to rectify that is to beat them in football next year.
Yeah, exactly.
But I will say, like, Florida has an advantage because Florida has a very large population. The state does,
Mhm.
and it's a very athletic state.
Yes.
It's a football hotbed. It's a basketball hotbed. I mean, Kevin Knox is from Tampa.
Yeah, exactly.
So, isn't Kerry Blackshear? Isn't he from Orlando?
Yeah, he's from, I think, because that's why he chose Florida,
Yeah.
because he's from there.
Yeah. So, there's no shortage of talent in that state. And is anybody on our team now from Florida?
No, I think most of them are from either the Midwest or Northeast, something like that. So there's not much coming from the South. Tyrese Maxey, he's from Garland, Texas. I think
Texas
that's
is South.
yeah, exactly. So he was Mr. Texas.
And then I think Ashton Higgins is from Georgia.
Yeah, so either him or Nick Richards, he's from Jamaica. They're both pretty dang close to Florida. But no, I definitely think what's going on in the XFL right now? Oh
What
my
is
gosh.
this?
Gotta give props to the Vipers.
I mean, that's just a point though. Like, for those of you that didn't see it, he was getting stopped behind the line of scrimmage for like a 4-yard loss. It was kind of a busted play because of a bad exchange between the quarterback and the running back. But instead of like going down, he decided to run backwards and lose 2 or 3 more yards. So it's
Yeah.
2nd and 17 now.
Hey, Duquesne almost came back and won. They were down by 15, and they lost by 10 still, but they still scored a lot. So, but anyway, back to the topic at hand: Kentucky versus Florida. Let's look at the preview for this. So the over/under for the game: Kentucky is a 4.5 favorite, and the over/under is 136. I'd say it's a fair bet. So that's like what? That's 70 to 66, something like that.
100. What was it again?
136.
136.
So a good 70 to 66 is probably.
Yeah, it's around there.
Yeah, so that's not. I'll definitely take that. So let's check this out. Kentucky's averaging 75 points a game and allowing 66, whereas Florida is scoring 72 and allowing 66. So we have the upper advantage there with 3 points. We have better field goal percentage. We rebound a lot better. You know, their assist totals are more. They're just all around. When it comes to steals, Florida's the better team, but Kentucky has the most momentum going into this matchup.
I think so too.
Not only because they're on a 5-game win streak and their stats are just completely better, however, they are also a tougher team. Ashton Higgins has some kind of thigh injury. He's already out there playing again. And Nick Richards rolled his ankle on a basketball that he dunked, and he still played. Like, this team is tough.
They are.
You know, they know how to overcome adversity. I think that's another thing Kentucky sports has had this season in general is overcoming adversity and
get tough.
not listening to the critics and whatnot. So. And getting tough, like you said. So, but Kentucky is a
Because I
4.5 point favorite.
Well, I think that kind of that blue collar tough attitude from the football team is starting to bleed over into the basketball team.
Yeah, and I mean,
Overcome adversity.
see, I've noticed after Cal Camp, which was after the Ohio State game, like you said, we've only lost.
December, I think.
Yeah, we only lost 2 games,
Yep.
and one was a buzzer beater. Which, if we went to overtime, I think we win that game. And the Auburn game, I think we win that if the refs and we just rebound better. I think we win that one too. There's a lot of what ifs in this situation.
Yeah.
However,
you could say that if we hadn't given up so many second chance opportunities, then Kentucky hasn't lost a game since Ohio State, because that's what killed him in South Carolina, and that's what killed him against Auburn.
if EJ isn't hurt in the Evansville game, we win that game by far because we could not rebound. So, but that's a lot of what
There
ifs.
are a lot of things that went wrong in that Evansville game outside of it just EJ getting hurt.
I do want to. Yes, I agree. I do want to point out a stat. I heard this recently. Is the last time? I want you to answer this. When was the last time that Kentucky beat Tennessee, Vanderbilt, and LSU on the road?
This will be 2012. I saw this same story.
Know what happened in 2012, right?
Yeah, they took the
Natty.
Took the title.
Now that's, I mean, that's not necessarily saying they'll take it again this year. Really hope they do. Big Kentucky fans, obviously. However, this team, they're coming together at the right moment in the season. I think, they're finding their edge scoring. They're starting to finish off opponents. It seems like Ole Miss was a little stretch. Ole Miss was a little scary. That was at home. They were up most of the game, but we came back and we played better in the last 3 minutes of the game. I think
the difference between a good team and a great team is finding ways to win even when you're not playing well.
Yeah,
and this team's finding ways to do it.
Yeah, I mean, if you can win that, I'm sorry for interrupting you, but if you can win that many road games, like weekend by weekend, they won 3 out of the 4 games during the weekend. Or, excuse me, I was watching XFL, something crazy happened.
Yeah, the Vipers just scored a touchdown.
Yeah, and then Huff on the Roughnecks interrupted their celebration, so he's kind of a jackass. But if you can win that many road games, like tough SEC road games, and only lose 1 on the road, 2 on the road, 2 on the road, that's pretty impressive, I think. Playing 13 games, losing 2 on the road, very close matchups as well. So I got to give them credit for that. However, we do want to give Florida some credit as well, just because they're also finding their stride. After 3 tough losses, they lost to LSU at LSU, lost to Baylor, which they only lost by 11, and they lost to Mississippi State by 7. This was earlier in January. And ever since then, they've only lost 1 out of 6 games. So they know that they're finding their stride. However, they're going up against a really tough. We are their first ranked opponent since Baylor, January 25th. So it's gonna be quite a bit. It's gonna be.
Florida's not gonna be a pushover
for them. No,
they're not gonna be a pushover by any stretch.
By any. No, I don't think so either. So let's look at some of the key players. Johnson is their leading scorer with 13.7 points per game and an 80% free throw percentage.
Shooting 53%.
And 53% from the field.
That's really good.
Yeah, compared to Quickly. Quickly's scoring more, however, he has a bigger free throw percentage. I think he's 3rd best in the country at free throws. Excuse me. But he only has a 40% field goal percentage. And that really hurt him in the the Ole Miss game, where we went 2 for 22 for 3-point line, which is awful. I don't see that happening today. I think Kentucky, they bounced back against LSU. They hit 7 for 7 in the second half. Mm-hmm. The first 7 shots they put up were threes. They shot them and they made them. So we got a lot of people underrate this matchup. I think you got Nick Richards, who could win SEC Player of the Year, going up against Kerry Blackshear Jr.
Who could have been his teammate.
Yeah, exactly. Who also was one of the best in the ACC his entirety of his career at Virginia Tech. Blackshear's averaging 6.7 rebounds per game, whereas Richards is averaging 8.1. And then Hagens is averaging 6.6 assists over Nemhard's 5.5. However, Hagens' turnover ratio is just slightly bigger than Nemhard's.
Real quick on an update, North Carolina kicked a field goal. They're up on Louisville 3-0.
Oh, they kicked the field goal.
Yeah, they kicked the field goal.
That's how this game's going to go now.
But, could it be possible, because Blackshear and Richards, they play the same position. They're the big guy down low who gets a lot of rebounds and stuff.
Yeah.
Could it be said that the fact that Kerry Blackshear did not come here allowed Nick Richards to get, where he is? Because Kerry Blackshear would have started over Nick Richards.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Honestly, I think if Nick Richards, if Kerry Blackshear had come here, Nick Richards might have transferred. And we may not have seen the Nick Richards that we have now.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean,
because I remember being bummed out because I remember listening to KSR and they were really hyping up Kerry Blackshear.
Yeah,
when he went to Florida, I was kind of bummed,
Yeah, no, definitely.
But maybe it was a blessing in disguise.
No, I definitely think so because if you look at Nick's career, his freshman year he was overshadowed by P.J. Washington, and P.J. Washington vastly improved his second season.
Yep.
Him and Nick Richards both came back. Richards had to sit the sideline most of the time because our top recruit that year was E.J. Montgomery. He was our only 5-star, and so we had him. Well, no, Hero was a 5-star, but EJ was ranked above him. So you had PJ Washington returning for his sophomore year. You had a grad transfer in Reed Travis, who, God bless him, love him to death, miss him so much. He was a great player last year. And you also had EJ Montgomery. So there's 3 big men that you have to fight a spot for. And freshman year, you weren't even all that great. You were average at best. His sophomore
Nick
year
Richards was not good.
No.
When I was a freshman.
No, he was not very good at all. His sophomore year improved a little bit, not as much, and that's not entirely his fault. I think it's also because he wasn't getting as much minutes too. However, he stuck with the process. He waited year 3. Year 3, I'm not gonna lie, before the season, I'm like, I'd start EJ and Sestina over Nick Richards and any one of those two. I'd start them 2 over. And there was a couple games where, in the first game, it was Sestina and EJ starting. It was them 2, Quickly, Hagens, and Khalil Whitney who started.
EJ Montgomery, real quick on that note, EJ Montgomery started off the season where it's like, just like makes you want to rip your hair out.
Yeah.
But he's gotten a lot better, and I think, I've said this before. What was it the Coach Cal showcase thing you were telling me about earlier in November after the Ohio State game?
Can't talk. Coach Cal Camp.
Yeah.
Camp Cal.
So it seems like ever since then, everyone on the team's gotten better.
Hey, that's how it always happens too.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I remember you, not you in particularly, but like Casey Wilkins, John Wilkins, Jack Nichols, all hate EJ Montgomery the first game. I said, you watch, he's going to be one of the main reasons we get to March and we win in March, and I said that the same thing about Khalil Whitney. What happened to him? He left. However, that's a different story. I'm saying this year, we're seeing a lot more improvement from him. And when each player is at their best, I would not want to face the Kentucky team when they're all at their best. And that could be said for any team. Like, I wouldn't want to face Baylor at their best,
Yeah,
But this Kentucky team is scary at their best. Like, if they can hit 3, like in LSU, we were up by 20 at one point. The fact that we only won by 3, kind of pitiful. However, I'm not going to discredit what they did. It's amazing.
The win's a win. It's tough to win down there too.
Exactly. We don't play them up until maybe the SEC tournament and maybe the NCAA tournament. So, however, I do want to say that Nick Richards this year is going to be EJ Montgomery next year. EJ is going to go off next year. I wouldn't be surprised if he wins SEC Player of the Year next year, just because I feel like he's going to have a Nick Richards season. He'll average. He's the best rebounder on the team by far. He's got the biggest. Besides, Richards has the biggest wingspan, but he's quick. He can shoot. He's an all around team player. I think.
If I had to make a guess, I think you're going to have Richards and Montgomery back both next year.
You think so? I was just about to ask you that. Who do you think is coming back after this week?
I think they both do. Montgomery definitely, but I think Richards. I think he still needs another year, and I really think that the only one of anyone on the team that would leave is Tyrese Maxey.
Yeah. Well, a lot of mock drafts have Maxey going as a lottery pick. If he's not in the top 10, he's in the top 15. Mm-hmm. They have him. A lot of them have him going to either the Hornets or the Timberwolves. Now, if he went to the Timberwolves, that'd be pretty nice because he'd be matched up with now D'Angelo Russell and number 1 pick for 2015, yours truly, Karl-Anthony Towns. So number 1 and number 2 picks right there.
Karl-Anthony?
Yeah,
that'd be good.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think so.
For him.
That'd be good mentorship too.
Well, if he went to Charlotte, he'd have Malik Monk and what's the other guy that's
PJ Washington.
Yep.
Formerly Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, now he's on the Mavericks. But
Cards kicked a field goal. It's 3-3.
Nice. It's crazy how this basketball scoring works out. But they have Nick Richards and Hagens in the draft as well. Now, whether Hagens goes or not, I don't know. It's a different story, I guess.
I still don't think so because I think he still can be kind of a turnover machine.
Yeah.
I think he's going to have to shake that before he goes.
So Hagens was, I think, early to mid second round, right? Richards is 50th out of 60. like in
Then
mock,
he probably needs to
in
come
mock
back for a
drafts. And that's what I'm saying. If he like, but you also don't want to risk the fact, because like take for instance Cassius Winston. He was projected to win Player of the Year this year, because he's a senior. He's on a Michigan State team that went to the Final Four.
Mm-hmm.
He's won revenge, and now Michigan State could possibly be one of the first 4 out in the tournament. Just because of their record and like what they're doing, over there in the Big Ten. But I do think if Richard stayed one more year, it would provide, because look at this lineup, right? You'd have E.J. Montgomery, Nick Richards. Let's say Higgins and Maxey go. Quickly. Keon Brooks. I don't think we get a grad transfer this year because our freshman class is loaded, unlike it has been the past few years. And then Johnny Juzang, who will probably be the starting
Johnny Bravo.
And then you got Brandon B.J. Boston, who is probably going to be the number 1 pick next year in the draft, is what a lot of people are saying. He's getting a lot of hype from a lot of recruits. Devin Askew, who reclassified from next year's class, or 2 years class in 2021 to 2020, went from 28th to 26th after he reclassified, so he's pretty damn good. And Terrence Clark, and those are all 5 stars, right? And I could be forgetting somebody. Isaiah Jackson, he's another big guy. So we'll have a lot of older guys with these younger guys, and I think they'll mix so well. And I do think we could do a platoon system, granted, if Higgins stays. I don't think Maxey's staying. Higgins is iffy, and Richards is still iffy. However, I think we'll be set on big guys. I don't think we get a grad transfer like we have the past 2 years, and that's only due to the fact that our freshman class hasn't been what it nearly has been the past few years, in years past. Like the 2015 team, we were just loaded, with all of these recruits and all that. And then we had all these older guys.
However,
too.
platooning is bad for recruiting.
I
think that Kentucky's starting to shift their stuff now from one and dones to 3-4 year guys.
Oh yeah,
I think that is better for them.
That helps Calipari too, because
Yeah.
he's building more relationships. He's knowing his players. Every year he has to adapt to his players.
Mm-hmm.
So if he's like, he keeps this same system going.
And that really started my freshman year.
Yeah, exactly. That's when PJ and Nick came in. And they've just been
Both
impressive
of
ever
them
since.
developed a lot, and they had to. Do we want to move on to bracketology now?
Yeah, let's give predictions real quick for the game, and then we'll do player of the game. We haven't done that in a while. So Wyatt, who do you think's gonna win this game and why? You get the spread at 136.
ESPN is giving Kentucky a 67.2% chance to win the game. I'm going to pick Kentucky. I don't see Kentucky losing a home game to Florida. I think it's going to be tough. I think that Florida's not going to be a pushover, and they always play Kentucky tough.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be close. I'm going to pick Kentucky to win 74-66, plus or minus 2.
I dig it. So
that's just above the spread.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to pick above the spread. I'm going to have Kentucky winning this one 82-74. I think it's going to be, we're going to be lights out.
Both you and I have 8-point games.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm not all that great with the plus or minus like you are, so I'm not going to do it. I'll leave that to you. But yeah, I do think we'll win by 8, and the spread is Kentucky 4.5. So that's we're on the betting eye. We're on the overside on that one. So
wasn't it the Vanderbilt game that I almost had the final score right?
Yeah, it was that one.
I for those of you that didn't watch it, I picked the final score of the Vanderbilt game to be 74-59, and the final score was 78-64.
Yeah.
There was one point with about a minute left where the score was 74-59.
You say Kentucky can't score, and they had a wide open lane for a layup.
I'm like, damn it, Higgins.
Yeah, exactly. But who's your player of the game tonight?
I'm gonna go Emmanuel quickly.
Yeah, I can see that.
I've never been good at picking player of the game when it comes to basketball.
Yeah,
right.
I'm not all that great either.
Well, you remember what happened last year.
I did pick Reed Travis for Tennessee, though. I was really happy about that.
Yeah, well, I picked.
And then I
picked Ashton Higgins for the Auburn game last year in the tournament. He had 7 turnovers.
I'm never picking Ashton Higgins against Auburn. I will
Never.
I will pick Khalil Whitney to come back and score 2 points and do better than Ashton
Khalil
Higgins.
Whitney will score a basket before that happens.
Yeah, exactly. So, so you have Emmanuel Quickly. I'm gonna go Nick Richards. I think that crowd's gonna be overhyped for him versus Kerry Blackshear.
That's gonna be a hell of a matchup.
I think so too, and I just think I think he's a lot stronger. I think he scores better in the paint, rebounds a lot better. So I'm gonna go Nick Richards as player of the game in this one. I think they're gonna get it to him a lot. I think they're gonna try to wear Kerry Blackshear down with their offense. So moving on to a little bit of bracketology though. So Kentucky's ranked 10th, obviously, so they're in line for a 3 seed at this point. If we win out, I do think Kentucky can get a 2 seed. I think the 1 seed's out of contention. I think that goes to
we're not getting 1.
I think that goes to Baylor, Gonzaga, Kansas, and San Diego State. I think it goes to one of those 4, or each of those 4. Excuse me.
I'm looking at it right now. This is the Joe Lunardi one from ESPN.
Yes.
It has Kentucky at a 3 seed playing Wright State in Cleveland in the Midwest region.
That would be good for Kentucky
It
if
would.
we played closer to Lexington.
That's what, because some of these, if Kentucky was a 4 or 5 seed, they'd be playing in Sacramento, California. Nobody wants that.
No.
Nobody wants to play out in California.
If we look at our opponent, if Kentucky were to win that first round matchup,
They play either Butler or Cincinnati.
I
hate Cincinnati.
Oh man, that'd be home field for Cincinnati too, pretty much. That's the scary part about it.
More Kentucky people care than Cincinnati people.
That's true. That is true.
But let's see. Looking at the 3 seeds as of right now, as it stands, at 4:21 p.m. on Saturday. What's the date?
February 22nd.
February 22nd. The 3 seeds are Kentucky, Creighton, Florida State, and Louisville.
Look at who we're in that bracket with, though. This is a tough bracket for Kentucky.
Kansas, LSU, Oregon, North Carolina State, Penn State, Butler, Cincinnati, Wisconsin, Oklahoma, and Duke. I welcome it.
Wisconsin and Duke.
I welcome it.
That's it. So, okay. So, say in this bracket, Kentucky wins against Wright State and then win against Butler and Cincinnati. If Wisconsin or Duke go on to the Sweet 16 in that instance, that game is going to be insane.
There's a lot of writing on that game.
Because not only will Kentucky be playing Duke, which is always a fun-filled matchup, regardless, it's a big rivalry game. Kentucky could be playing Wisconsin.
Yep.
It could be the first time since that Final Four matchup that these two go head-to-head. And let me tell you, I think there would be blood in that matchup.
There is... Well, Kentucky and Wisconsin have been at each other's throats in the tournament.
Yeah, no.
Quite a few times. Because you remember the year before, Kentucky won on the 3-pointer.
Yes, Aaron Harrison.
Yep.
But not only that, Tyler Hero, too. Kentucky's still Tyler Hero away from Wisconsin. Mm-hmm. That's they hate Kentucky. Wisconsin hates Kentucky, and they hate Tyler Hero now because of that. So there will be a lot riding on that game. Have this bracket if we have this bracket.
However, I don't hate the bracket. I don't. I think, actually, I welcome it. I think that this is a favorable bracket for Kentucky because I'm not entirely sold on Kansas. I'm not entirely sold on Duke. I think that Kentucky can beat Duke. I think Kentucky can beat Kansas.
Let's look at some of the other brackets real quick. So that was the Midwest bracket. So the Elite Eight will be held in Indianapolis in that one, and that's favorable for the Cats. Cats always play good in Indy. So let's go to the South bracket in Houston, where you have Baylor. Florida has a 9 seed. Michigan State has a 5 seed. That's very interesting. Colorado, Iowa. Creighton has a 3 seed. Interesting.
Creighton pounded somebody the other day, didn't they?
Yeah, I forget who it was.
And then Michigan and Virginia. And then Dayton is the 2 seed in that.
No offense to anybody in this bracket, but this is a cakewalk for Baylor. Not only is the Elite Eight in Houston, but they also have Dayton as the number 2 seed. I think Dayton's the weakest top 10 team, and it's because of the conference they play in.
Well, I'll say this. I would not be surprised. Let's assume that, for the sake of argument, that nothing in this bracket changes.
Yeah.
If this bracket were to happen right now, I don't think Dayton would make it out of the second round.
They'd be playing Virginia or Michigan.
Because Michigan is a dangerous NCAA tournament team.
Michigan's good. Michigan's good this year too.
Michigan, like over the last 10 years or so, Michigan has had a surprisingly good basketball team.
Yeah.
They made some good runs at the tournament. They made it. Was it the Elite Eight that Kentucky knocked them out in?
Yes, yeah, because Sweet
Yeah.
16 was Louisville, and then went Michigan, and then went Wisconsin.
And the year before that, they went to the title and played Louisville.
And then who won that one? I don't remember who won the championship that year.
I could Google it, but it says that it just doesn't exist.
Yeah, I think Michigan it technically is theirs, So L's down.
I would
L's
get
down.
if I were to search 2013 national champion.
Let's just do it.
It would give a 502 service not available.
You ever watch that episode of Parks and Rec? It's like, because Leslie, the main character, she's sick. So Chris Pratt types in her symptoms. It says, Leslie, I typed in your symptoms. You have internet connectivity problems. That's what it reminded me of when you said that. Yeah, let's just look this up. The 2013 National Championship in basketball. And who won? It says, does Michigan win the 2013 National Championship? No, it says Louisville Cardinals vacated. It has Rick Pitino with an asterisk. That's probably going to be Astros here soon. Just saying. So that's the Houston bracket. Let's go. Let's look at Los Angeles. Let's look in the West. So Gonzaga's playing in the West. It's very favorable for them, I think.
Yep. Well, Gonzaga is in Spokane, Washington.
Yeah. They'll have.
I mean, if it's in Spokane, Washington, that's a home game.
Yeah, exactly.
And then
the whole first second round is in Spokane.
Then you got Auburn, West Virginia, Ohio State, Louisville, Wichita State, BYU, and Seton Hall. How is Seton Hall a 2 seed? I just forgot that they exist.
Seton Hall, they got a lot of good players. I will say, I respect Seton Hall. So in this one, they got Rutgers and Xavier as the 8 and 9. That'd be a hard matchup to pick. I'd pick Xavier in that one though. Auburn playing
I think
Yale.
Rutgers has had a decent team.
Oh yeah, definitely. Ohio State is playing
New
Georgia
Jersey.
and Iowa. Louisville is playing New Mexico State. Then BYU and Wichita State. Wichita State's always, they went undefeated that year until Kentucky beat them. So, a lot can happen. And
The
Roughnecks
Shockers.
touchdown. Roughnecks touchdown. Right now it is 32-27. They're probably going to go. I'd say they go for 2. I think
You gotta go
so.
for 2.
Yeah, definitely. If you go for 1, it's just a touchdown. So moving on to the New York, we got San Diego State as the number 1 playing Austin Peay. Probably not going to beat them. Texas Tech and St. Mary's.
Texas Tech. Texas Tech might beat San Diego State in that second round.
Oh yeah.
Assuming that they win the first game. Texas Tech is not a pushover.
Yeah.
We found that out firsthand.
Yeah. No doubt.
And then you got Arizona, Villanova, Marquette, Florida State, Houston, Maryland.
Arizona State's moving up too. They're facing Houston in the first round. And they're moving up too. So I wouldn't be surprised to see them move into a 7th seed instead. So that should be really quite interesting to see.
I do not want to see Kentucky in the same bracket as Florida State, because I think Florida State scares me as a team that if Kentucky were to have to play, and that would make me really nervous. Florida State's good.
Kentucky can literally play anywhere except the West bracket. If they're in the West bracket, it's gonna be a tough show for them. If they're in the Midwest, that'd be perfect. Granted, unless we don't get Ohio State or Michigan in there as well. The only, they have Penn State, which is a Big Ten team, and they have Wisconsin, and they have Oklahoma. Oklahoma is close to the Midwest, I'd say. They're more south than they are Midwest.
I honestly hope that they stick with the bracket that Kentucky's in right now, because I welcome Kentucky playing Duke. I've said it 4 times already in this podcast. I would welcome a matchup between Kentucky and Wisconsin and Kentucky and Duke. Can you imagine the atmosphere on campus if Kentucky played Duke?
It'd be insane. There'd be watch party at Memorial again. I wouldn't go because we lost by 30 last time I went. That was a different team.
Oh,
too.
I'd go to State Street for that. Come on, what you mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Let's have some fun. Here.
Yeah,
let's make this interesting.
Let's do this. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, this bracket it's quite interesting. You know, it'd be hard to pick a lot of these games.
I really think it's anyone's matchup.
Yeah.
You know, I think any. I don't think there's a clear cut favorite. I really don't. I think it's a lot like last year where you could see a team like Auburn or Texas Tech getting hot at the right time and making a really good run at it.
Yeah, no, definitely. You know, Arizona, they're nothing to scoff at either, too. You know, they're fifth, and then the only problem is they're in New York playing first, second round, so that'd be a really tough matchup for them. However, I do think they're nothing to scoff at either. I think they can get on a run as well.
Mm-hmm. So I told you the other day that I picked 10 basketball schools and like looked at their football record in the last 4 years.
Yes.
Only, let's see, as of right now, of the 10 that I picked, there's not very many of them that are projected to make the tournament.
I know UCLA's not in there.
Yeah, UCLA's out.
Connecticut
Indiana's not going to make it. Michigan State.
Indiana could be one of the last four in, or the first four in.
I think Indiana will depend on how they finish and how they do in the Big Ten tournament.
Yeah.
If they get knocked out first round of the Big Ten tournament, it's over.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah.
But where is Michigan State at?
Michigan State, they are the 5 seed right now in the Houston.
Okay, but they're in it. So, and we'll talk about maybe like for another podcast, I'll talk about the basketball schools playing football.
Yeah.
But let's see, I'll tell you which schools I picked, and you can see if they're in it. I mean, I picked Kentucky. Indiana's not in it. Michigan State is. Syracuse is not. Duke is. North Carolina, they suck this year. Kansas, they're in it. UCLA, no. Virginia, yes. And then Connecticut is a no.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just like thought that it's crazy that almost half of the teams that I picked in that to do that little research thing on.
Yeah.
Like half the teams aren't even in it.
Yeah. No, it's
Like what the hell is that?
historically, like, on paper, like you'd be surprised if they're out of it. But here recently, like all the UCLA's and the UConns, like, you know.
Connecticut, I don't think they made the tournament since they beat Kentucky in 2014.
Yeah. No, you're right. You know, what's a shocker to me too is I think I would just refresh the page, but the Liberty University is a 12 seed, but they are 25-3. So that's kind of I'd at least put them up there with the 8 or the 9 seed possibly.
Well, the University of Vermont is a 13 seed right now, and they're 22-6.
Yeah.
I think it has a lot to do with
The conference and the strength of
competition
schedule,
and all that stuff.
net rankings have a lot to do with it.
However,
too.
didn't they upset like Florida State or something like that last year?
Yeah. No.
Because I remember them, pulling some garbage. Actually, we were talking about
Pulling some
Indiana.
garbage. Yeah.
They are in the play-in game for the 12 seed in the East region.
Yeah. No, that's gonna be interesting as well too.
Not gonna lie, I kind of want to see Indiana miss the tournament just because it's funny whenever they do. I can't help but laugh. I really can't.
Oh no, Bob Knight can get the hell out of here with his old ass. I don't care.
Bob Knight, he's one of the greatest basketball coaches to ever play. He's a freaking nut.
Yeah.
He's like one of the greatest basketball minds ever.
We'll hide these chairs right here, before he throws them on the court.
Or at us.
Yes.
Oh, by the way, just quick score update. It's 34-27. The Roughnecks have the lead over the Vipers. 9:24 in counting in the fourth quarter. And
It's on the Roughnecks side of the ball, and the Vipers have it.
Yeah, so. Roughnecks 45, hands it off, and he got about 3-yard gain. So it's gonna be second and 7.
Sounds about. I don't know. The Vipers, they're definitely. This team. This game's already exceeded. It's definitely on the over right now. The over/under for that game was 46. It's 34-27.
I think the Vipers. I don't think they're a bad team. I really don't. But
after seeing this, I'm like, there's a lot of questions I have now. Like, can they beat can they come back and win their division? Who knows? If they go 0-3 then finish 7.
I think they just had some bad luck.
I think so too.
But that's football.
Definitely. Okay, I think. Other than that, I like this bracket a lot.
I do too. If Kentucky were to get placed there,
I could do without the Wisconsin Duke kind of thing. I'm like, granted, I think we could win.
Does that make you nervous?
Oh hell yes, it does.
It does?
Yes. Oh yeah. No, just historically, like in the tournament, if we play these teams, you know, it's throw the records out the book. It's 0-0 at that point, you know, and that goes for every game for that instance.
Oh,
you know?
Kentucky, like,
but also they're more scared to face us than they are of them. That's the thing. I realize that about Kentucky basketball is when, you know, with all these road games that they've had, you know, they don't come like, for instance, let's just say Tennessee. Like Tennessee fans don't come to see Tennessee; they come to see Kentucky, right?
Yep.
You know, and like South Carolina, they come to see Kentucky. You know, it's an instance. Jack just came in. He's very surprised at the XFL score right now. We're big Vipers critics over here. So, but yeah, no, every team that plays Kentucky, it's their Super Bowl. You know, if you're not in the SEC, like Texas Tech or Ohio State, you know, it's their Super Bowl. They come to see Kentucky play just because they know historically Kentucky's one of the best.
Kentucky is the winningest.
We're the greatest tradition in the history of college basketball.
Yep. Won the most games.
Most games.
Not the most championships.
Second most championships.
But the most games.
Most draft picks in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're a storied franchise, to say the least. Storied
dynasty.
Yes. So, I think that's going to do it for us today. You want to give a shout outs before we end the podcast?
Yeah, of course. Do you want me to do the outro today, or do you want to?
You know, let's just see how it goes. You know.
Definitely want to give a shout out to Jen Smith. She's a legend.
Greatest journalism professor there is.
And I want to give a shout out to Nick Mingione, head baseball coach.
Yes.
They've won 2 in a row. Actually, no, did they win today?
I don't know if they won today, but they won yesterday.
Yeah, they're on a 2-game win streak. By the way, Nick Mingione, he always gives great interviews. When he comes on KSR and stuff to talk to him, he always gives great interviews.
There we go, definitely.
And speaking of which, you know, we're gonna give a shout out to Vince Marrow, the big dog himself.
Love that guy. Love him.
Did we talk about him coming back in the last week's podcast?
I think we did. I think so.
It's so much I can't even remember.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I'm just glad he's back.
Oh yeah.
You know, that helps us with recruiting and all that, and we need that. He's a Youngstown boy, so.
If you ever by the way, for those of you that are watching at home, if you ever want to be like entertained, there's a video back from 2017 after Kentucky lost to Mississippi State. I remember that game. We played awful. We lost like 45-7 or something like that. But there's a video of Mark Stoops giving his post game press conference, and you can hear Vince Marrow cussing the team out in the background. It is the greatest thing I've ever heard. Have you ever seen the video?
I think you showed me actually. It was, dude. Like I would not. He is one guy. Like I would not want to say like, hey, your wife looks ugly. Like I feel like he would like bury you to the ground 12 feet under. Like.
Like I feel like Stoops is scary when he gets angry. I can't imagine what Marrow's.
No, I'd take Marrow in that fight. I'm no betting man, but I'd take the over on Marrow.
Oh yeah.
So, I'm gonna give a shout out. I'm gonna give a shout out to Landry Jones, the Dallas Renegades. Hope they get it done tonight. Big shout out to Tyson Fury. I mean the Fury Wilder fight. Who you got in that one, Ryan?
I'm gonna take Deontay Wilder.
Dude, there's no wrong answer. I mean, until the end of the fight, of course, but it's safe to say that he could win it too.
Fury in the last fight, he's kind of like pudgy looking, but he's like good.
Oh yeah, no, he's insane.
And then also when Deontay Wilder like swings, it like makes me like want to
do the oh shit face.
Like turn around.
No, that's gonna be a great fight. It doesn't have the build.
He's got a right. He's a righty, isn't he?
Wilder?
Yeah.
He's
got a right hook that is just. I would not want to be on the receiving end of that.
He has knocked out every opponent except one.
And it was Fury, wasn't it?
Even then, Fury was the only one to get up from 2 punches from him. He took 2 punches and got up. And this fight ended in a draw.
No, when did they fight last?
I think it was a year and a half, 2 years ago. Let me look that up real quick because I don't want to be wrong. but it wasn't that long ago. Let's see. Fight number 1. Very anticlimactic ending right here, but their second fight is tonight regardless. Prelims start at 9 p.m. So it's going to be a very fun-filled boxing matchup. We got XFL right now, Kentucky basketball at 6. Then we got the fight tonight.
Simultaneously, while I'm watching the fight tonight at 10 o'clock, the Bruins play one of my least favorite teams ever, the Vancouver Canucks. So
there you go. Wilder. Okay, I got this wrong. So Wilder is 40-0. He's 40-0. He has had 39 knockouts. And that was before the draw. So it's gonna be a big fight feel over there in Vegas tonight. So their first fight, I'm not sure where it is, honestly.
No, wait, does a knockout...
It was December 2nd, 2018.
So I actually don't know this. When you call it a knockout, are they like knocked unconscious, or is it whenever the ref just waves off the fight?
So take for instance the Floyd Mayweather-Conor McGregor fight, right?
Yep.
Floyd Mayweather won by a TKO, technical knockout, and that's when the ref stops the fight, right? Because he doesn't want he doesn't want him to get hurt any longer.
Yeah.
And the Vipers are about to score a touchdown, by the way, so that's very interesting. So now a knockout, very unconventional podcast right now. So 27-21 Louisville, they've hit 2 field goals and 3 touchdowns.
Let's see if they can hold on to it.
That's right. No, but so say Conor McGregor, knocks down Floyd Mayweather for a count of 10. That's a knockout. They're not necessarily knocked out cold, but if they can't get up to the count of 10, then it's over.
Now, does the knockout in like MMA, is that similar? I guess because when you see a knockout in MMA.
Well, yeah, no, that's the thing is like. So I think when you're just like pounding on their freaking face and the ref pulls you off, that's a TKO. Now, if you just like roundhouse kick them and they fall and the ref calls it, that's a knockout.
Yeah.
Right. Now, if the ref has to physically pull you off, that's when it's a TKO.
Okay.
So, it'd be cool if boxing had submissions, like not like grapple submissions, but headlock and stuff like that. So, but I guess I'll give a shout out to Tyson Fury. I hope he wins tonight. And Dallas Renegades, Landry Jones, Bob Stoops. I think he can get it done. So, I'll let you take the outro on this one.
So
the mic's in your hands.
It is February 22nd, 2020, and I gotta say, I think this has been a good year for sports here at this university.
By far.
Not as good as last year, but we still got a lot to go. It's going for the fade. Yeah, he threw it too far, but that was 4th and goal. But I think that this has been a good year for sports here, like I said. We still have a lot to be... There's still a lot to be desired, though.
Yes.
I think that, with it being almost March, things are going to start heating up, obviously.
Yes.
And the SEC tournament, it's 4th and goal. Let's see what he does. He throws it back shoulder and incomplete. You got to be better than that.
Yes, you do.
But, who am I to say that? I'm just an armchair quarterback. But I'm really interested to see how this, not only the NCAA tournament, but also the SEC tournament pans out as well. I think it's going to be really, really entertaining to see how this goes. And who knows? I might just finally get the final score of a Kentucky game right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So
one can hope.
I don't have anything else other than let's get it done.
Let's get it done. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us in the podcast. We do appreciate it, as always. I hope to get this up before the game starts. And as always, unique people, different opinions. Still zero disrespect, guys. We've got a big game tonight. Dallas Renegades. No, I'm kidding. Kentucky and Florida, 6 o'clock Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Central. Go Cats.
Yep.